nerves down so they stop thinking that this is the only house they're ever going to get in their life if you're in real estate. How many of you realize you're doing that to them? You're making such a big deal about the transaction. You're freaking them out. You're like talking to like your sex ed class to a 14-year-old, don't get pregnant. There we do that. We don't scare them about the house, okay? Second thing we're going to cover today is how many of you would like to understand your auto programs, what you do automatically, and how to change what that is? How many of you would like that? Anybody? Now, some of you are like, all right, I've heard these coaches before. Good news is I'm not a coach. I'm a lot more like a tester. I'm a lot more like MacGyver. I'm just a weird dude that finds things that work and does them over and over again. I'm not a coach. I don't even consider myself a coach. I just call myself an effective human being. How many of you understand that? That's what I am. I'm effective. Okay. So I'm not like the local B&I coach that you're dealing with. The third thing I'm going to cover with you is this. How many of you would love people to buy quicker from you? How many of you would love that? Anybody want that? I believe the biggest challenge is when you explain what your company is and how it works. I truly believe the first 15 things out of your mouth, 15 words, are literally creating an issue for you. And this is how to speed people up. And from this day forward, I can guarantee you will never walk into a meeting, a Zoom, a pickup line at your kid's school ever the same again. Because how many of you ever said to your kids, God, man, my kid they didn't learn anything today at school. What's wrong with them? Because you keep on asking them, how was your day? And your kid keeps on responding, it was okay. How many of you have experienced that one before? It was okay. Okay. I'm going to get you to never get that again. And people are like, well, what's that going to do for my business? Everything. Because a happy parent and happy grandparent is a happier business owner. So with that said, let me tell you a little about who I am so we can get clear. Okay. Very good. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona right now. And says we do, and I do know we have a mix of all kinds of people, but here's the one thing I'm going to tell you. It doesn't matter what kind of business owner you are. How many of you recognize we're always selling? Does everybody understand that? We are always selling. We always got a lot of stuff going on. The reason I lean into the real estate thing heavy is people understand it. There's sellers and there's buyers. You know, in direct sales, there's sellers and there's buyers. At a gas station, selling ho-hos, there's a seller and there's a buyer. Sometimes it's fun to say ho-ho, but here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to very, very simply get into the basics. So here's who I am so some of you can understand. Knolly and I met at a double secret hidden meeting. So I'm one of these guys, I go to a lot of mastermind events with very, very, very interesting, unique people. Now, how many of you have ever been to a really cool meeting before, a mastermind, something like that? How many of you have been to one? Raise your hands if you have. Okay. Now, so what's funny is I go to these meetings and there's people in my industry there, which the industry of helping people, that I'm going to call shady people. Now, how many of you have met people in your industry that are a little bit shady? Come on. How many of you have met people, whether it's real estate, coaching, whether it's you have a gym, where they just aren't on the up and up? Now, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying they have a different agenda than I have. So when I go to these meetings, some of the people there work for companies that you know of. I will list these companies: ABC, Fox, NBC, Facebook, and Instagram. They do the same things that I do. They have mastered the art of getting people's attention. They are called addiction experts. I am called change your auto program. Do you know that Facebook spends billions of dollars hiring a guy like me? I would never work for them, to understand how to change your biochemistry inside of your brain so you'll click on an ad. How many of you understand that? Everybody get it? So some are like, well, Michael, why are you telling me this right now? Because I want to give you the same technology that they pay billions for on a free call today. How many of you understand that? And it's going to be easy to do. So when I work with these people, one of the things that I've learned is they do what I do. They've mastered the art of getting people's attention and lowering resistance. Do you know that Netflix spends billions of dollars lowering your resistance so you go from show 1 to show 2 and you click next episode, so they get $16 a month? Now, what's fascinating about it is you can do that same stuff as well. Now, the other thing they do is they increase receptivity. So what if I said, if you're going to learn something new, the big thing we need to learn is how to get people's attention, lower resistance, and increase receptivity. How many of you would like to get better at all three of those things in the next few minutes? Anybody want that? Now, some of you are like, I don't want to raise my hand. I'm not going to agree with you, Michael. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me. Totally fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something so it makes sense to all of you. So when people say like, Michael, what do you do? What's your background? I could get into, well, I'm one of the founders of neuroscience concept called human interaction technology. And for 20 years I've been doing this. So it's easier for me to say one simple thing. I'm a drug dealer. I'm going to let that set in for a second so some of you understand what I mean by that. I help you deal the appropriate chemical concoctions inside of your brain. So, gotta say it clearly, Jersey talk, you do the shit you're supposed to do. How many of you realize we're all drug dealers? How many of you understand that? You just got to get the right concoction going. So what I recognized is, and you might want to write some notes and some stuff down, I have found that there's about 4 very simple drugs that all of us need to get good at dealing to ourselves and others. And when you get this right, you're going to make more money, be more effective, enjoy your life, and also have a better love life. How many of you would like a better love life? Come on. I know the couple's sitting together. I got a few of you couples there. Just be careful saying yes if the other person doesn't say yes. So look over and go, hey, how about we're both in, and grab hands like a buddy check at a pool, right? So, and some of you aren't going to laugh about anything today because you're going to succeed being serious. Okay, folks, serious doesn't sell these days. If you're not entertaining, you be serious in a meeting, they're going to flip on a video on TikTok and your ass got lost a minute ago. We got to get fun. How many of you understand that? We got to be fun. We got to be enjoyable, not silly. We got to be fun. So there's about 4 things I'm going to share with you right now that are going to be very, very effective. So here's the drugs and the way they work in our heads. And this is what's for sale by major media all the time. They're not selling your data. They're selling you drugs that are going on inside of your head. So how many of you are in sales or business or parenting and you would love the person across the table to be more excited? How many of you would love that? Anybody want that, more excited? Okay. So excitement's good. Excitement is drug number 1. This is what I'm going to call your little dime bag. If anybody knows what I mean, you're from the 80s, you get this. Okay. You understand the concept. Some of you are like, I can't believe he just said that. Okay. What I mean by that is an intro product. An intro product is something called dopamine. It is designed to get you excited. How many of you have gotten someone excited just for them to be bored 5 minutes later? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Or to get in the car and to catch a rerun of Yellowstone or something else. So what happens is in our lives, we will get people excited about our product. We get people excited about our opportunity. We get people excited about a home. We get excited people about a car. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Excitement is wonderful. It gives you about a 45-minute high. So a lot of us, this is what we lead with. We lead with passion, we lead with excitement, and we think that's great. Then you have to keep on every 45 minutes dosing somebody, dosing somebody, dosing somebody, dosing somebody. So I hate to tell you all the old Tom Hopkins audios about get them excited. He was right to a point before 2022 when everybody had access, or 23, to MySpace, and they can get thrills from everywhere. The challenge is, what we need to recognize is excitement is a piece of it. It's not the do-all end-all. The second thing is you take a marketing class. You're like, all right, Michael, I got it. It's not just about excitement. I'm going to scare the crap out of people. So what you do is you inject them with a little cortisol, which is fear. Now, some of you are like, well, Michael, how is fear motivated? Well, let me tell you real quick. How many of you ever had to fire somebody, deal with a tough conversation, deal with something else, and basically said to yourself, man, for whatever reason, this is difficult to think about, or you drive by a car wreck and cannot get it out of your mind? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody catching on? Because when you have a challenge in your life or something that scares you, like if you don't buy this house now, or you don't buy this product, like my daughter is looking at an apartment right now, guess what? It's the only one available for the next 3 months. Of course, it's the only one available for the next 3 months. And why are they doing that? Because they want to scare her. Because, oh my God, what if I don't get it? I'll pay extra. I'll pay a premium. It will keep you high for about 2 weeks. So people say, Michael, are people negative? They are not. Cortisol lasts longer than dopamine, which means excitement lasts 45 minutes. Fear lasts up to 2 weeks. How many of you are catching on right now? Anybody getting this? So we need to make certain when we're marketing, selling, or dealing with ourselves, a lot of us got to stop having a dream board, and you're better off with a nightmare board. And the reason why you're better off with a nightmare board is, how many of you recognize if your dream boards worked, you'd have 12-pack abs, you'd have the house in the Hamptons, every one of you be rich? I think it better off as a picture of you superimposed in the fridge, weighing 975,000 pounds and saying, you know, chubby people eat here. I promise you to grab cucumbers. Picture of Victoria's Secret model, or like, who was it? Carl Weathers and Apollo Creed. That dude was ripped. You guys remember original Apollo, right? You put a picture in your fridge, that's my body. Or Rocky Balboa, or ladies of Victoria's Secret model. You're going to look at it and go, where's the cheesecake? And the reason is our dreams don't excite us as much as our fears. push us. How many of you understand what I just said? Anybody catching on? I hate to be negative. I'm not being negative. It isn't negative. It's called, it is the way it is. So we've got two drugs. We got excitement and we got fear. But that's not why I'm having a conversation with you today. The reason I'm having a conversation with you today is we got to become better communicators. How many of you ever picked up your kids from school? I said it earlier and said, how was your day? And they say, good, it was okay. Or you ask somebody, how's your day? It was okay. And you're like, dude, what's wrong with them? Do they need Prozac? And what's interesting is there's nothing wrong with them. What it is you asked a dumb question, so you got a dumb answer. How many of you understand that? Or I don't know if any of you with your kids, how many of you ever said this? Like, man, what is it with TikTok? Why are they obsessed with TikTok? Why are they on Instagram? Damn companies. So instead of getting mad at these companies, we've got to learn from them. And what I mean by learn from them is, here's the deal, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, listen up. TikTok's exciting and you're boring. How many of you understand that? You need to be more fun, which means the way that you communicate has to get a different response out of people. So we're going to play a little game right now called Walk Into a Meeting. Now, how many of you have been in sales or business for more than 3 days? Anybody more than 3 days? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you would love to change your interaction with everybody from this day forward? How many of you would love that? Every human being from this day forward. So in order to change your interaction with everybody from this day forward, I'm going to ask you a simple question. Have any of you ever told anybody this? And do turn on your cameras if you can. I would love to see your beautiful faces. If not, I'll just start calling on you and I'll make up what you look like. Okay. And I'll start telling everybody, there's Joyce, there's Daniel. And I'll start making up like Daniel right now is just getting out of a bathtub. Everybody picture, I'm just teasing, but whatever. But the point is, what I'm going to do right now is think about this for a second. How many of you have ever told anybody with a raise of hands or yeses in the box? Daniel's like, it is true. I am getting out of bathtub. Be careful dropping your phone in there, brother, but I'm glad you're having fun with me. Okay. What I'd like you to think about right now is this. How many of you have ever told somebody that you care about, you're proud of them? How many of you have done that? Raise your hands high. Okay. It's good. It's a good thing to say. So I'm going to play a little game called Call on Somebody. So raise your hand again if you have ever said, I'm proud of you. Okay. Anyone ever done that? Okay, good. So I'm going to call on Pamela Hooley. Pamela Hooley, you are next contestant on You're Getting Called On. So Pamela, unmute yourself very quickly. How you doing, Pamela?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Are you having fun yet?
I'm enjoying this right now.
So when you say right now, you're like planning that shit's going to get bad. Okay, very good.
No.
I want you to be careful with your language. That's like human beings saying the market is good right now, that you're expecting it to go bad. I busted you. Okay. How many of you recognize right now?
That.
Yeah, you're busted. Right now is a protection mechanism. Cut that out. Anybody got it? You guys get it? You could say this is a great investment opportunity currently. Doesn't mean it's going to go bad, but we got to kill off it's not negative. It's just semi not positive. So have you ever said to somebody, Pamela, have you ever said to somebody, I'm proud of you?
Yes.
It feels good, doesn't it?
I tell my daughter that all the time.
Yeah. What if I told you never say that shit ever again?
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. Just give me a minute.
Why.
Give me a minute. Bear with me. Hold on. I want you to listen up real quick. How many of you ever studied Pavlov in school? Or remember Pavlov, ring the bell, and Pavlov rings the bell, and the dog starts to salivate. Why is it when I say Pavlov, you start salivating? It's weird. I don't know. Ring the bell, ring the bell. So what happens is when I tell, or you tell your daughter, I'm proud of you, you inject her with something called serotonin, which means you had the supply, you activated in her, and you did the work. And then she's like, mommy, will you say it again? Please, will you say it again? I need you. Will you say it again? So let me just give you a different way of saying the same thing for a different result. So instead of saying, Pamela, I'm proud of you for speaking up, Pamela, you should be proud of yourself for being here today. That hit differently, girl, didn't it? It hits differently.
Yes.
What it does is it's an instant dose of serotonin. Then you give it to you versus me giving it to you. How many of you recognize when you walk into a sales meeting, let's just say selling a house, and you walk in, instead of saying, hi, how are you? Let's have our meeting the same way we've every meeting we've ever had. What if you were to walk in and say, I'll just use you. Actually, I'm just going to say, Pamela, thank you. I'm going to call on somebody else. Thank you. Pamela, great job. Say, great job, Pamela. I am now going to call on Justin, you've been unmuted. Justin, you were the next on being hazed on the call. So Justin, are you ready? So Justin,
I am.
you got the concept, didn't you, brother? Make sense?
Absolutely. It's an awesome class so far.
Dude, stop with this so far. It's only going to get better unless you want me to push myself to get better. So let me ask you a quick question, brother. I'm on all the time. So you're like, I said the same thing she did because it's contagious. Okay. So let's have a little bit of fun right now. What kind of business are you in?
I'm in real estate.
No shit. Okay. Very good. I like it. Okay, good. I'm just teasing. But let me just say for a second, you come to my house. I called you over. What's the first words out of your mouth, brother?
Hey, Michael.
Hey. Keep going.
Hey, Michael. How's it going? Good to be here.
How many times have I heard that before?
Plenty of times, probably.
So I just put you in the same box as the person at the drive-up car wash. Do you understand? I put you in the same as the other real estate agents I've worked with, and you just did not become special at all to me, did you?
Well, no.
Let me help you real quick. I'm going to hook
Sure.
you up. You ready to get hooked up with a gold nugget that's going to make you feel amazing? Okay. You didn't mean to do it. So Justin, I could say, hey, Justin, how you doing? Let's get you a house. Does that sound good?
Absolutely.
Watch this. Tell me how this feels, Justin. You ready? Hey, Justin, first off, before we get into the house thing, I just want to commend you in advance for even setting up this appointment. The fact that you're really going to find an incredible house for your family and that you're really going to, you take your finances seriously says a lot about yourself. You should be proud of yourself, man. I just gave you something that we didn't get from our mommies and daddies when we were kids. How many of you realize I just gave him excitement and I just gave him a serotonin hit, which means he is proud of his decision-making already. How many of you are getting this? If you are, say I am. Anybody catching on? So I'll do it in slow motion so you can get it. You felt that, didn't you, Justin? I know that you're a tough guy like me and you don't want to admit it, but Justin, if I said to you, Justin, you should truly be proud of yourself, dude. Most people are scared of the market right now. And here we are looking at getting a house. That's what separates you from others. The sale's done. You're going to buy from me because no one else has ever said that to you, have they?
Not at all.
Dude, you wish your coach would have said that in football when you were a kid. How many of you are catching on? But the point is, we've got to get better. So here's the deal. Do we want them excited, scared, or decisive? Where do we want them? Where do you want them, man? Scared?
Decisive, making a decision.
Bingo. So I'm going to tell you the second I met you, dude, you've already made a good decision setting up this meeting, right?
Yep.
You're not going to deny that. How many of you are learning right now? Anybody catching on? The reason I'm telling you this is it's not so you can script and write down, walk up to person, say to person instantly, you should be proud of yourself. No, what you're going to do is you're going to find a way to say it in your words. Something to the effect of, Justin, when you called me and you set up that meeting, I knew I was dealing with a serious person, dude. You should be proud of yourself that you even picked up the phone. Most people are Googling and here we are meeting. Boom, sales over. How many of you understand that? Now we just got to find you the house because you have just separated yourself from every other agent in the world. And I got another way to do that later for all of you. So the last thing I'm going to say is, Justin, heads up. We got it. Was that solid?
Perfect.
Doing good? Okay, very good. So mute you back. The last thing is something called oxytocin. Now, I can't admit it, but when Knolly and I in that group met, we might have been excited to see each other, throwing high fives and hugs when people were maybe not near each other. How many of you realize in 2020, the biggest issue had serotonin lasts permanent, which means it stays in them. Do you guys got it? They're over. It lasts forever. It doesn't go away. You just got to keep on inducing them with it so they get more. Now, here's the part that I want to make certain all of you are clear about. We were so excited to meet Knolly and I and Kevin and Fred and everybody. And who else was there? There was a whole crew there, but it doesn't really matter right now. What matters is we were there and we were connected, which means we were inducing what's called oxytocin. How many of you realize churches, temples, mosques, and synagogues, conventions and seminars release oxytocin? And when people come together, we get better. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? So what happens is when we explain what we do to people, like, is anyone here not in real estate? Like not in real estate? Okay. So we got mostly real estate people. We got a few people that are not. Okay. And some people like they want a transcript of what I said. I'll give you the slow version right now. So you're worried about getting it correctly. Here it goes. You should be proud of yourself. Okay. Got it, everybody? Don't worry about getting it correct. The idea is that you know there's a better way. I'm just teasing. I love all of you guys for asking questions. The reason I tease is this. When guys tease, we build a bond. When girls tease, you meant that shit. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? Let's just get real. But a serious knows we got to get cool with each other. We can tease each other in a loving way. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to think about this. So who here would like to be the next step right up victim? Let's get somebody else to go to help me out. I'm going to help someone hook somebody up, help them out, and they're going to learn a lot. If not, I'm going to call on you. So we're just going to call on We are going to call on who's going to go next? Raise your hand with your physical hand up. And we are going to call on Brianita. Did I say that correct? If not, add a couple syllables to make it work. Very good. All right.
It's Brianita.
Very good. So let me ask you a question. What do you do?
Real estate.
Very good. Explain your company. Explain your physical company to me.
My personal company, right?
You
What?
could explain you could play your competitors or yours. You pick.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, my company is BAM Associates LLC, doing business as BAM. And I work with EXP, awesome cloud.
Let me ask you, does any of that matter to me, the buyer, the seller?
No.
Okay. So let me help you real quick and hook you up, right? So
Okay.
number one, the first thing you're going to say is just want to commend you in advance for even setting up this meeting. So let me explain a little bit about how our process works. Now, what you're going to want to say is if you're just looking for a real estate agent, you got the wrong company. You see what I'm doing with my hands?
Mhm.
Then they're like, what the hell are you? We are a relationship business and a family run company. Am I correct? Does your family help run the company?
Yeah, mine does. Yep.
Of course it does. Everyone's does. How many of you understand? Even your kids are not annoying you and helping run the company. Do you guys understand this? So we are a family-based business that work directly with you and your family through the entire process of getting the house, the psychology, the understanding, the mindset, and everything. So our outcome is not just to help you find the perfect home, is to really set you up so when you're looking for your next home, this was the perfect one to transition into that home. We're going to work directly with you to make that possible. Do you understand? Now, don't go writing that down. If you wrote that down, you screwed the whole thing up. I want you to feel this right now, and I want you to get it. The reason I'm saying this is this. Years ago, when I was selling martial arts training for people, how many of you have kids ever in an after-school program? How many of you ever dealt with that? After school, what does an after school cost? A couple $100 a week or a month. So I said to this guy, I can get $2,000 a month for martial arts. And like, no way. How are you going to do that? I said, I'm going to sell them oxytocin and I'm going to sell them serotonin. And he goes, yeah, right. So I want you to ask a question. Brianita, do you have kids?
I do.
Okay, so I want you to pretend we're going to get them into martial arts. Just we're leaving our industry right now on purpose. Here's why. Because when you talk about a different industry or different product, it's easier to then put it back into yours. There's no emotion attached. How many of you understand? Talking about dogs and puppies is easier to learn real estate. Everybody got it? If someone's never bought a home, stop talking about buying a home and let's talk about buying a refrigerator. How many of you understand? Stop talking about things they don't understand. So ask me, how much does it cost to join the gym?
How much is it to join the gym?
Oh, that's $295. You already got your mind made up, right? So we're going to do this a little differently right now. Ask me, how much is it to join?
How much is it to join?
Wrong question. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. And then you're going to say, what's the right question? The better question is, what would you like it to do for you? And they're going to be like, I don't know. So here's what we do. If you're looking for a gym or a martial arts gym, there's a million of them out there. That's not us. We are a family-run company that works directly with your child and your family to help raise your child. Your child now is 7 years old and 9 years old. We're going to work directly with them through the young years. So when we get the bully years come up, they're ready and prepared. By the time they're in the teens, we're going to work through the psychology of being a teen. They're going to get good at doing their homework, getting things done, be more effective. And we're going to work directly with your family. So by the time they're off to college, they are getting the scholarship. So we are about $1,800 a month. If all you want is a gym, you've got it. But think of us as additional parents that are going to help you raise your child. So the raising the child process is easier. How many of you recognize you guys would pay $500 a week for that shit? How many of you understand what I just said? Now, why am I telling you that? You have to stop offering. Where do I sign my kid up? Stephanie says, but it's the truth. And the reason gyms are only getting $300 a month is they're not explaining what you do. Would you agree? Real estate is psychology. It's a relationship. We are going to be working together. It is emotional and mental. And part of the process is I'm not going to bill you for the therapy that I'm going to give you through this process. How many of you understand that funny thing to say? So the reason I'm bringing this up is we've got to dose oxytocin, which is the feeling of connection. So why am I telling you this? Stop people getting excited about the market. Stop scaring them the market doesn't work. Remind them in every market, it's a good idea to make a decision. Folks, I bought in good markets and bad markets, and I've always made money if you wait long enough. How many of you understand that? All of us have. Do you guys understand? If you bought in 08 and got killed, if you kept that thing somehow till 6 to 22, your ass is rich. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? You made a lot of money. So we're going to help you through that process. The reason I'm bringing this up and why it's important to understand is we've got to get the right drugs at the right time. How many of you are learning right now? Everybody catching on? Okay. Why am I telling you this? I am a very interesting person. I don't have a really cool story. Like, I wish I had, like, you get a Tony Robbins. I had 5 dads. You get my buddy Sean Stevenson when he was alive, was one of my best friends. He never walked. He was handed to his mom at birth, and they handed his mom and said, here's your child, broken almost every bone in its body. You got about 18 minutes with your kid. So when Sean lived till 40, traveled the world, got on Oprah, went on Tony's stage, went to the White House, everybody's like, if Sean can do it that never walked and made millions of dollars, what can I do? I don't have that story. My story is a lot like the majority of yours. I grew up very, very average, and I grew up very, very middle class. Now I got to ask a question. Has any of you grown up lower middle class, or upper middle class? Raise your hand if that's any of you here. Anybody raise your hands? Okay. Now I'm going to explain why this matters. We were not trained to make decisions. I didn't realize this until 2020 when I became a teacher. Now, some of you became a teacher in 2020 because you got sent home with your kids and you had to become a teacher. So I was paying $25,000 a year to homeschool my kids for private school in my living room, and it was private. And what's interesting is I decided instead of teaching them, because I was horrible at it, I would brainwash them. So we watched The Goonies. Am I doing a good job, everybody? Different Strokes. Am I doing a good job, everybody? We watched Mr. Belvedere. And when we got to Little House on the Prairie, I saw the problem very, very vividly and honest. See, does anybody remember that show, Little House on the Prairie? Let me tell you about the show if you don't remember, and maybe you don't want to admit you watched it, but here's the show in a nutshell, and every kid should watch it. In every episode, somebody dies or goes blind. How many of you understand it's just hell? Do you guys get it? There's 2 groups of people. There's the people that cannot figure out how to even eat, almost growing a house that almost always burns down. And then there's the rich people in town and the original Karen lady, okay, Knolly Olsen. Do you guys understand? That is literally the 2 groups of people. And during the show, eventually, if you watch it, the broke people eventually start figuring it out and eventually wind up being able to buy a house. How many of you understand that? That was the world until about 1920. And then around 1940s, I want you to pay attention to this, the world changed and nobody let anybody know. This is not a conspiracy. It was a good idea gone really, really bad. So what happened is in about 50s, a bunch of people got together and said, we got a way to make people feel not uncomfortable. We got to get a way to people not be nervous. And they invented something that never existed before called the middle class. And it worked for a period of time. How many of you recognize for our parents that worked hard, they saved a little bit money, it kind of worked. The problem is it doesn't exist anymore, and we're using the same psychology today. So I grew up in the middle, and my parents gave me some little advice. I remember going to the Short Hills Mall in New Jersey, and my mom would say to me, I'd say, Mom, how do you get a car like that, a Lexus? Because we had a Buick LeSabre. Do you guys understand? And a Lexus was like a big deal. My mom gave me the good advice. Work hard and be a good person. That's good advice. That's like church advice. Work hard, be a good person. Then I went into business for myself. I worked hard. I was a good person, and it didn't work. How many of you understand what I just said? Everybody catching on? And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And I had no idea what the real challenge was, is she was conditioning me to be average. Now I want to tell you real quick what average means. I wrote a book called Average Sucks. I wear this shirt all the time. And I promise you, if you got a shirt that says average sucks, people will stop you and they'll go, dude, I like your shirt, and say, thank you. My entire company is based on average sucks. And how many of you would agree your company is too? How many of you don't like being average? Anybody catching on? So I got this car that drives by me. I'm in Scottsdale. I live with like all those people with nice cars. Guy's got a Lambo and drives by me in my Escalade. And he goes, nice license plate, man, because my license plate is average sucks. I go, you know what it means? And he goes, yeah, man, don't be average. And I say to the guy in the Lambo, You're average. That's what it means. Then he comes back. What do you mean? I go, it's your average. That's your problem. How many of you realize that we have an average that controls our life and our everyday? If I were to call our friend Mark Zuckerberg right now, I'd say, Mark, what's Judy been up to? What's Daryl been doing? What's Carla been up to? I know how many times you clicked on things. You know how many times you've been intimate in a year, how many times you go to a restaurant. About the average vacation you go on, you make about the same amount of money. How many of you recognize we all are living based on an average? How many of you understand that? There's an average home purchase, an average sale. Everything in life is an average. The question is it the average you want, or is it the one you're accepting? Now, what I'm going to share with you right now is the ultimate mindset hack that's going to assist all of you and help you guys grow. So let me ask all of you a question. The decisions you're making today, are you really making them today? Or do you think they're based on past experience? This is past. This is current. What do you guys think? Past. Do you realize the majority of what we do is outdated and it isn't what you want anymore? For years, I'm like, I want a Ferrari. I want a beach house. I'm 6'7". I don't fit in a Ferrari. Do you guys understand that? I don't know why I wanted one. I wanted one because they mentioned it on, I think Les Brown mentioned it. So I wanted a Ferrari. I don't fit in a Ferrari, but I'd say it. And I'd say things I didn't really mean. And a lot of people do. So let me ask you a big question. How many of you have done this before? You could type it in the box or give me a yes. And you can take notes today, but you know you're never going to look at them. So I'd rather you talk with me instead of look like CIA agents taking notes. Do you guys got it? You can always hear the replay later. So, and I'm being funny on purpose. I got Flavine. Hey, I said it right. Flavine, whatever.
Flaviani.
Flaviani.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I said it perfect. Okay. Flaviani on the third attempt. So how many of you ever said this to yourself? Never again. Let me explain when we say never again. How many of you have ever had food poisoning over a toilet bowl seat or drank too much and said never again? How many of you got with a guy or girl and you said, never again, I'll treat myself that way, and you still went back for 2 more rounds? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Never again. How many of you have ever said to yourself, I will never be treated that poorly again. I'm always going to be an entrepreneur. How many of you have done that? Never again. Why am I telling you that? Because in life, we live inside of a box. Michael, I don't live in a box. Yeah, you do. Stop pretending you don't. So we live in a box, and the bottom of the box says these words, never again. Now, how we say never again is, I will never again, I don't want, or it could say don't want. I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. And that's your cortisol. So one day, some of you got pissed off and said, never again, never again. And instantly, your brain said, sounds great. Seems pretty passionate about it. Says never again. What do you want? And very quickly, you draw a wall in front of you that says, I want this. I just want to feel good. I don't want to be in pain. I want to make 6 figures. I don't want to be broke. I want to make $1 million. I don't want to be broke. I want to be treated good. I don't want to be hurt. And you bounce back and forth between the walls. Where I'm from, we call it bitching and complaining. How many of you understand what I'm saying? I want this. I don't want this. I want this. I don't want this. I want this, and I don't want this. How many of you realize sounds like every conversation you have with almost every human being? How many of you understand that? I don't want to be in a bad school zone. I want a good school zone. I don't want to be in a bad neighborhood. I want a good neighborhood. I don't want non-gated. I want gated. The challenge is, in order for our minds to be able to keep up with this, we develop what's called an identity. Everybody raise your right hand. We're not doing the pledge or anything right now, but just raise it. And when you look at it, this is your identity. Now people say, Michael, what business do you have talking about identities? I had a fake ID business at one point. Anybody catching on? So I am able to talk about identities. How many of you had a fake ID at one point? Raise your hands, be honest. How many of you wish you had one? Anybody? It would have been cheaper. Didn't buy booze from other people. But why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because every one of you has a fake ID. And the fake ID you have is you pretend you're something you're not. How many of you pretend you're weaker than you're not, or you pretend you're better than you are? And how many of you recognize we are way more capable than we realize, but we got to get rid of our fake ID? Anybody catching on? Why do I talk about IDs? Well, here's why. In order to get our box working correctly, we do this. Has any of you ever said, tomorrow I'm going to start my new workout. Tomorrow is going to be the day. And you go to bed, you set the alarm for 4 a.m. I am going to yoga class. I am going to the gym. And you go to bed with your Lululemon outfit on. How many of you know what I'm talking about? shoes by the edge of the bed, guys with your Everlast shirts on, cut like Rocky, ready to go. You walk your dog the night before so you can get out in the morning. You brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you go to bed. You have a sign that says, athletes live here. I'm going to do it. And then as you're going to bed that night, you take off your plan of who you were today. You put it over who you're going to be tomorrow. And when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you see is who you were yesterday. And you relive who you were yesterday again, and you skip the damn gym. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody been there before? We, my friends, are controlled by our identity. Do you know the person that is not bought from you identifies as someone that doesn't buy shit from you? Do you guys understand that? And the non-home buyer identifies as a renter. How many of you understand this? And the person that's overweight identifies as an overweight person. We need to change our identity. A lot of you need to change your identity. I'm going to help you with this down the road. Do you realize you identify as a person that makes about what you make, does what you do, looks the way you look? How many of you recognize we need an upgrade in our identity? Anybody catching on? This is a big thing. And the last thing, some of you say to yourselves, Michael, I don't get it, man. I'm having trouble finding good people out there. You're not having trouble finding people out there. You're finding people all the time. You're an expert recruiter. Well, what do you mean, Michael? You have recruited exactly the people that you need in your life to keep your life being what it currently is. You know that brother-in-law that drives you nuts? You married somebody and they came into your life and you needed them to drive you nuts. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? You know that neighbor that you moved in next to that runs the HOA? You picked that house. You needed that to motivate you to get a better house in a different area that's now no HOA. Do you guys understand? You know that employees that keep on quitting, reminding you that you need to become a better leader. So what happens is we recruit all the people that we need in our lives to keep us where we're at. So let me just going to make sure how your box works. I want this. I don't want this. Here's who I am. And these are the people in my life. And you design a funky little thing called your average. And that controls everything that you do. Here's the best part. It's June 1st. None of you have to do anything for the next 3 months. Take a nap, take a break, go on vacation for 90 days. And I guarantee come September, your automatic programs will kick in. And in September, October, November, and December, you will make up the difference and you will make what you made last year because you were designed to make what you made last year. How many of you are getting this? If you are, ding, ding, ding. Anybody catching on? So what we need to do, this is not like, oh, Michael, sounds good. How do you do it? I'm going to tell you very simply, it's easy. And we've got to figure it out. Everything you want is on the other side of the wall. So you hard-headed entrepreneurs are going to do what my mommy told you to do. You're going to lower your shoulder and try to go through the wall. You know what you're going to get? A bloody head, a concussion, a messed up shoulder, and you're going to get tired and be pissed off and go, am I the only one that works? How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody catching on? Then if you're smart, you're going to go to Home Depot and buy a ladder. And then you go buy a ladder and you climb the wall, but the ladder is so big you can't carry it everywhere you go. And then some of you, what's going to happen is you're going to have people like Knolly host you over the wall, or myself, like Knolly was smart enough to come to our events and going, dude, will you give me a lift over this thing? Because I know you know how to get over it. I give him a lift. He gets the other side. We build a ladder and do it because everything you want is over here. It's not in your delusion over here. So why am I telling you that? There's one way to get everything you want in this world. And I'm going to tell you, it's the thing we do more than anything else in the world. Like, and Eric Kelly, you can't answer this because you've worked with me before. And Knolly, you are disqualified from this. But you get a chance to win one of my Average Sucks shirts right now if you can answer this question very simply. If you've worked with me before, we already know who's ever worked with us. What is the one thing that we do more often than anything all day long? I want you to type it in the box. More than, it's not think about sex, folks. It's not that. What's the one thing we do more than anything all day long? Put in the box. Let me see. Compare. Nope. Complain. Bitch. Okay. Frank knows bitch. Make excuses. Breathe. Quit. Procrastinate. Think about ourselves. Lie to others. Talk. Dream. Goal. Achieving. And stop. Now, some of you are going to be like, well, Michael, I said what you said. I get it. That's like sending a check to the IRS for $200. Stop. We're done. Contest is over. And you're going to be like, I meant to send 10 grand and I sent $100. It doesn't matter. You still owe the money. How many of you realize accurate is accurate and there's nothing else? Does everybody understand? It's not the same thing. Here's the one thing we do more than anything else in the world. I own an institute right here in North Scottsdale. I bought what used to be a temple and it was a church. This place is like double blessed. You guys get it? It was a church and a temple, and I got a Buddha back there, so it's double covered. My wife's a preacher's kid, so we're set. Do you guys get it? But why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this on purpose. We believe that communication is the most underdeveloped and underutilized asset that we all have to getting everything we want in this world. And it is the one part we don't get better at. How many of you realize communication is the gateway to everything? How many of you understand that there's not a damn thing we do in life that doesn't require communication? You start a war with communication, you start love with the communication, you start sex with the communication. Everything is all about communication. And what I mean by that is it's how we communicate. I'll give you an example. Mike and I are in Utah, Mike P and our team, and this drunk lady walks out of a bar. It's always fun to mention the drunk lady walking out of a bar. And she walks out of a bar and she goes, "You don't get it." She's like in her 60s. "I'm going through a divorce and it's hard." So I looked her in the eyes and said, "Your divorce isn't hard." She goes, sobered up immediately. "What?" Because I will take a frustrated person to make them angry. And here's why. Frustration and angry, I'd rather have angry any day of the week. How many of you understand? Angry will do something, frustrated will do nothing. Then I said, "It's not hard. It's harder than you'd like it to be." She goes, "I never looked at it that way." How many of you realize we need to stop calling business hard? It's harder than we'd like it to be because we're not good enough at it yet. How many of you understand that? Everybody catching on? Are we getting this, folks? And if you work harder, you're not going to get there. We don't even need to get better. Stop saying, "I'm getting better, I'm working on it." Stop that shit. Don't ever say that again. What you need, that makes you feel good. I was talking to Mike P and our team about this the other day. That's like, "Oh, I want to feel better." That's not going to get you anywhere. What's going to get you somewhere is this: I'm doing different things. How many of you realize when you do different things, you're going to get better? Raise your hand if you're getting it, folks. Everybody catching on? Stop telling yourself you need to get better. You don't need to get better. You need to do different things. And when you do different things, you're going to get a different result. So you might say, "Michael, why are you covering me this right now?" Because I want to talk to you why goal setting doesn't work for most of you. And I covered this earlier, and how to really start getting the things we want. And also tell you, I'm glad you're here for an hour, but I'm also going to tell you, we've got work to do. How many of you recognize, like, I teach the material that no one else teaches? What I mean by that is you should have learned this in kindergarten. How many of you understand this? When my daughter is a figure skater, somebody commented on my Stanley Cup. This does Mark Messier. This is the Tom Brady of hockey, if no one's ever heard of him. 6 Stanley Cups on 2 different teams. And that's one of my heroes. The reason he's back there, just to remind me to be a leader. Over here is a guy named Mike Gartner, the most underrated, under-known player in the NHL. That's the 9th or 10th leading goal scorer ever that you've never heard of. My outcome in life is I don't need you to hear about me. I'd rather you not know who I am. I'd just rather be part of your process. How many of you get where I'm going with that? It's not about being famous. It's about being effective. How many of you would love to be effective? Nobody knows about you, so you can have a life. Anybody catching on? That's how I built my life. I want you to make so much money, and you are the salesman or the real estate agent that no one ever heard of before, but your ass is rich. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Anybody catching on? You don't have to be famous. You got to be effective. You sell the 11 houses in the Hamptons to the 3 people. You make 30 million bucks selling to the Kardashians, and it's over. Nobody knows your name. Got it, everybody? The point is, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because we've got to realize what motivates people to do things. So my daughter, I remember when she was skating, right? When she first started, I said to Maya, when her first competition, I said, "Maya, go out there and win." Because I thought that was a good idea. Stupid idea. How could you tell a kid to win that's never competed before, that's never won before? She's 6. So then when she came back, she looked at me like this. So I looked at her, I go, "Maya, better plan. Go show off everything you've been learning." She gave me I could show off. So then she won. In the next competition, I said, "Go show off again and win again." Now I could just tell her to win. But how many of you recognize you can't ask anyone to do something you've never done before? Do you guys understand that? And we've got to recognize that we already have a neural pathway. So if they already see you as a real estate agent, you're screwed before you get started. These are real estate agents. What we do is different. New neural pathway. How many of you are catching on? Everybody got it? So I'm going to share with you about goals. And Knolly, I'm going to go about 15 minutes over right now. Are you guys okay with me going a few more minutes? I promise you I'm more important than CNN.
Bring it.
Fox, all the stuff you were going to do. This is going to be more effective. So let's talk about what stops people from getting what they want. How many of you have set goals before? How many of you have done it? Set goals. Come on, raise your hand. I set goals. Like, I don't set long-term goals for myself on purpose because I like to just convince myself that I get the shit that I want. So like the night before I go to bed, I create what's called a must board, and must stands for makes you stronger today. And I write things down like wake up with energy and find ways to help people, make a difference, and grow the company. And every day I wake up, I look at it and I go do that. Mike and I, we're doing something right now. We'll write down, do 50 push-ups, do 50 squats, do 50 sit-ups. And I write it down, and then I get it done in the next 24 hours. The reason I'm saying this is I like to make certain I become a person that achieves, not a person with a bunch of goals. How many of you realize goal getters is better than goal setters? Anybody catching on? Setting should take a second. Getting is where we spend our time. So let's just say I said to Knolly, you got a big following. You got some great people. You got 30, 40, 50, 100,000 people around the world who know you are. Give me 100 names, all ages, ethnicities, colors, creeds, orientations. Give me the most diverse group you got, 100 people. And then I bring them to my building and I say, I'm going to motivate them. So I bring Zig Ziglar back from the dead. I get Les Brown to come help me out. We fire him up and we go, let's do it. And 6 months later, everybody's got a plan. And I invite everybody back. And 6 months later, all 100 people show up at the office. Out of the 100 people show up, how many people you think pulled off what they want? You know what the answer is? 3. So I'm thinking, what's wrong? What did they do? So I asked everybody. We all did the same thing. Why did 3 people get it? So I asked the 4 people what they did, me and them, and the other 96 what they did. Guess what happened? The same thing. Why didn't it work? So then I grabbed the people again. I said, all right, let's teach them. So now we got well-meaning people that did something that worked for them. We're teaching to these other people. We fire them up for a day. 6 months later, they come back. They still didn't pull it off. Now I'm like, you know what? They need subliminal tapes. So I give them subliminal tapes. 6 months later, they still don't do it. And then it dawns on me. What doesn't work for somebody doesn't work for somebody. Did you hear what I just said, folks? How many of you understand what I just said? 97% of the world is not motivated by dream boards at all. I said it earlier. 3% of the world are decide and do people. Not even me. I'm not that person. 3% of the world are decide and do. 97% of the world is when shit goes bad, you turn on. How many of you know what I just said? Anybody catching on? You're motivated by cortisol, not dopamine. Now, here's the cool part. It doesn't matter what you're motivated by. You just got to understand what moves you. So like if I put a sign on your fridge, I said it earlier, it said, rich people live here. I promise you're still going to overspend. But I promise you put a sign on your fridge says, you take your bank account today, say, cut off a 0 and say your bank account in 2039. How many of you recognize you'll change your finances? How many of you understand? The reason is we're not motivated by what we think we are. If you think about why you got started in business in the first place, you didn't start business because you were excited. You started business because you were pissed off. Every one of you. You weren't making the money you wanted to make. Raise your hand if this is you. You weren't treated correctly by a boss. You wanted pride. You wanted someone to stick up for you. You wanted your time back. If you had just got a $10 million raise by Microsoft, dude, no one wants to sell houses when you just made 10 million with Microsoft. That's dumb. And you wouldn't want to be here today if everything was working out great. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this for a very particular reason that I want all of you to understand right now. The number one motivator to us is when things aren't working out the way we want, we've got to learn how to drive ourselves. I call this very simple concept trigger words on purpose, but a lot of us don't challenge ourselves. We don't say things like, this is necessary. We don't say things like, this is what I must do. We don't say things to ourselves like, I'm being pathetic or I'm lying to myself. How many of you recognize we lie to ourselves? Anybody catching on? Do you know that if you're playing small, you're not playing small, you're lying? And none of us are liars. And how many of you recognize that you are really great at your business? How many of you understand that? You guys realize that? And there are other people out there that are not as good as you. And when you let them be involved with other people and not you, you, my friends, are being selfish. How many of you understand that? This is not for me to beat you up today. But I promise when I studied Mike Tyson, he would say, you know what? I'm not going to let the fans down. I'm going to let myself down. I'm not going to let Customato down, which is my trainer. I'm a descendant of a Greek god. I am going to be the best. And guess what? He became incredible. How many of you understand that? High-performing people challenge their communication. How many of you would agree that you may be a good talker, you may be a good listener, but when it comes to the level of communication I'm talking about, you've got to change that and you got to step that up. How many of you are catching on? Anybody getting this right now? If you are, say I am. So I'm going to give you a magic line that's going to help you in sales and business. I'm going to share a couple things with you and we're going to go from here. So stick with me about another 10 minutes and I promise it's going to be important. So here's a magic line. Here's the magic line. Number one magic line is this. Here's the big question we got to ask ourselves. What's not perfect in your life yet? What's not perfect with your current home yet? What's not current with your current realtor yet? And the reason we want to say that is they will tell you what's wrong. And then there's the option for thing to get better. What's not perfect yet? So if I asked any of you, like, what's not perfect in your life yet? I know it's only 4 very simple things. And I know that it's 4 things that all of us, if I were to grab Knolly and like take blood work from him and like dissect a little blood and pull it out and put it on a Petri dish, I would find 4 things that every one of us must get better at, or we can try to pretend it away. And this is how most people do personal development. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there. How many of you recognize it's there? And what I'm about to tell you in a couple seconds, you can't unhear. And the reason I'm going to say that is you're either going to figure this out and we together are going to do something about it, or you're, and somebody's like, he's being brushed with me, folks. I never get scared of diseases or anything. You know what I'm scared of, which I guarantee is going to kill me? Birth. How many of you realize we're all dying because we were born? How many of you understand that? It's a terminal illness that we all got the second we showed up. We don't have a lot of time. And I'm going to tell you 4 things right now. I don't care what age you are, that if you activate these in the next 6 months, you will have incomes that are bigger than you currently have. You will have love life that you couldn't imagine, and your life is going to get magically better. So I want you to very, very simply understand what I'm about to say. There are 4 things we need to get better at. Number 1 is commitment. How many of you recognize we need to become more committed people? Anybody understand that? I mean, really committed, like really, really, really committed. You say you're committed to your finances, regularly going to Starbucks. I look at Starbucks as economic devastation. Folks, if you don't make 100 grand a year, your ass shouldn't be in there. I've been buying Tesla stock for over 10 years. Do you guys understand that? It is a 640% return where you guys got a 45-minute high. Do you guys understand? If you are committed, you will do things different. I'm not saying being bored, but none of you have a commitment issue or you wouldn't be here right now. Here's the challenge we have. It's called congruency. You don't do what you say you're going to do. How many of you recognize Knolly does what he says he's going to do? He said he can do the call and you were going to be here, so you're here. You said you were going to stay the whole time and you're here. How many of you recognize we need to become people that do what we say we're going to do? Does anybody understand that? To ourselves, not to others. You're like, I do tell people what I'm going to do, but do you say it to you? You said you were going to make more money, then you need to mean it and you need to do it. The 2 ways to make this real are something called communication and confidence. I'll give you 4 words: commitment, congruency, which do what you say you're going to do, confidence, and communication. Folks, we don't need to become better real estate agents. We need to become more confident people. We need to become better communicators. If you were a better communicator and more confident, you could say, dude, I'll find you the house you want. You just go back around your day. I'll bring you some things and you'll sign the paperwork. How many of you understand that's confidence? Anybody catching on? But the challenge is they don't become confident because you're not as confident as you need to be. So your outcome for the next 6 months is, how do I develop my confidence? How do I develop my communication? How do I develop into the person that I'm capable of being? And the reason I'm telling you this is we could pretend it's something else, but it's not. The real goal to get where we want to go is to develop these 4 areas. So type it in the box, which one you're going to work on. Don't say all. Confidence, communication, congruency, and commitment. And I'd say you don't have to pick commitment because you're already committed. If you can't spell congruency, you just write the word con. Okay. I just want you to write down the word con. Stop being a con person and start being congruent. Put it in the box, confidence or communication. Which are you going to work on? Congruency. Put it in the box. Write it in. Write it in. Here's what happens. You say you want help and then you don't take it. It's right in front of you. You say you want it. You don't do anything about it. You say you want to be a better communicator, and the guy that runs the greatest, folks, I get calls from the biggest influencers in the world that are boxers. If you know who they are, ask your kids, because I'm going to help them become a better communicator. I talk to him before he goes into a boxing ring. He is my client. Do you guys understand it? If not, ask your kids who I'm talking about. Why am I telling you this? The biggest names in the industry call me with their challenges, and here's why. I shortcut the process. So I'm going to walk you through something very simple right now, and this is called the call out. How many of you recognize if you want people to change, you got to call them out? How many of you understand that? Everybody got it? Years ago, when I first heard this story, this is a call out. This will take me 3 minutes to tell, and has more to do with you and your day than you could imagine. And congratulations for you guys staying on. You're doing a great job. So years ago, I heard a story about a guy. Now, this guy was going through a challenge. How many of you have been through a challenge before in your life? Anyone been through a challenge? I've been through challenges, right? This guy's wife dies and he gets sick at the same time. So he picks up, leaves, grabs his whole family, moves to Alaska to hide. How many of you realize the weekend doesn't hide you from the bill collectors, and the weekend doesn't hide you from your responsibilities? The weekend is not to hide. We should call it a strong beginning and not a weekend, because most of us get weak. How many of you understand that? Everybody called it a strong beginning, your ass wouldn't drink. How many of you understand what I just said? Called it, and Knolly's like, I like that one, Michael. He wrote that down. Strong beginning. Got it. So this guy hides in Alaska, and he's a pissed off guy. Now, none of you are pissed off, which is good that I can see. And he's mad and he's bothered and he's frustrated. And one day he's like, things can't get worse. And that's the day the heater goes out. And it's like 1993 when the snow was so bad that nobody could leave their house, even in San Antonio. How many of you know what I'm talking about? It was bad, and it snowed, and it snowed, and it snowed, and the heater went out, and he lived in the middle of nowhere. So he kicks it, can't get it to work, called the 800 number, can't get it to work. Brother-in-law can't get it to work. So he's pissed off, wraps his kids in blankets, the firewood's outside. He's thinking this sucks, it can't get any better. How many of you realize he's in a shit mindset, right? Things aren't good. So he sits down at the dining room table. You can tell how long ago. And he sits down on a phone book because his kid used to sit on it. How many of you remember phone books? Do you guys remember that? Phone book. And he picks it on the floor, goes, damn phone book, throws it on the ground, and it opens to a page that says, Magic Plumber. I can fix anything. Heaters, coolers, you name it, I can fix it. He goes, is that secret thing, law of attraction shit that just happened? He's looking at it. Do I call? Do I not call? Do I call? So he picks up the phone. I got an old phone here. And he goes, Magic Plumber. And he goes, how can I help you? The guy goes, my heater's broken. He goes, great. Would you like me to fix it? And the guy tells his problem. Well, my brother-in-law's come by and I kicked it and I can't get it to work. And why do you think you can do it? He goes, would you like me to help you? I don't know, man. Do you think you can? Would you like me to help you? I don't know, man. Like, do you really think you can? Like, how could it work? And could you get here on time? And my kids are freezing. Dude, I can help you get whatever you want if you let me help you. Are you sure? Dude, I'm the Magic Plumber. I can help you with anything. Heating, cooling, you name it. Fine. So the guy shows up a minute later. How'd you get here so quick? The Magic Plumber. That's what I do. I get here quick. And he goes, you really think you can help me? And he goes, if you let me. How many of you realize part of this is you got to let me and you got to let you? Anybody catching on? It's part of it. So he walks down to the heater with the toolbox and he goes, you want me to fix it? He goes, prove it. Everybody wants you to prove it first. Well, I'm watching. I don't wait for people to prove it. I just do stuff. Like, how do you know the stock's going to be good? Because it either goes up or it doesn't. It works or it doesn't. You move on to the next thing. How many of you realize prove it's for losers? How many of you understand that? So the guy's like, whatever. You want me to fix it? Whatever, fix it. So the guy gets his tool chest. He opens it up. He stops listening. How many of you realize I stopped listening to people a long time ago? And I do with what they want, not what they say. How many of you understand that? I got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Bullshit. I watch what people do. I know what you want. You all want to be better. You all want to be more effective, but you tell yourself things, you'll work hard and be a good person. So he rips out a screwdriver, turns it a couple inches. The heat turns on. The guy goes, that's amazing. How did you do that? He goes, I turned that screw. He goes, that's amazing. How'd you do it? With my hand? But how'd you do it? He goes, I just did it. He's like, but how? He goes, do you want to know how, or are you happy your house is warm? How many of you understand that? We got to stop figuring out how. Why does the market go up and down? Who gives a shit? It does and it doesn't. Do you guys understand? He turns on, the guy goes, amazing. How much do I owe you? He goes, $600. $600? You've been here 5 minutes. What do you mean $600? Are you crazy? $600? Did you want an itemized receipt? He goes, you better give me an itemized receipt. So he hands him an itemized receipt. And the itemized receipt says, turning screw, $5. Knowing which screw to turn, $595. How many of you recognize the hard work is knowing how? The smart work is turning. I've never asked anyone to do the $600 job, ever. I've never asked anybody to learn to go figure it out. I just say, do this, trust me, trust you, do it for 5 days. Let's see how it works. Shut up and do it. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Let's roll. And then like Knolly last weekend, he didn't want to know how. So Michael, how did you decide to learn this? Just do what I say and you get different results. So the reason I'm saying this is, how many of you recognize if you take different actions, you get a different life? How many of you understand that? If you know how and why, you don't get shit. How many of you understand that? If you take different actions, you get a different life. I always say learnings for losers, implementations for winners. How many of you realize we need to become implementers, not learners? All our kids go to college. College is a waste of money if you don't implement. How many of you understand that? If you just learn a bunch of crap, we need to implement and we need to go. And the reason I bring that up is for 20 years, I've been saying one simple thing. I can get you to get more done in 5 days you have in 5 months, understand yourself better in 5 days you have in 5 months, get you to be more effective in 5 days you have in 5 months, become a better communicator in 5 days you have in 5 months. How many of you would like to, by next Friday, be a better communicator than you currently are? How many of you would love that by next Friday? Well, how? I'm going to tell you what to do. You could do it on your own time. We can hang out. We can do it. So for 20 years, I've been sharing something, and this is something special I'm going to share with you in about 3 minutes right now. There'll be no sales pitch for me. You can sell you if you want me to help you. And when I share this with you, you're going to be like, dude, that's just a couple tanks of gas. That's nothing. So here's the deal. I got a course called Call to Action. 5 days working with me, kicking your butt, holding your hand. I run it every single month for the last 20 years with a 100% success rate with people that finish it in 5 days, that they wind up being more effective than they are. Are you going to get rich overnight? No. 12-pack abs overnight? No. But you are going to develop confidence and communication you do not currently have. And you could start getting some of what I share to come out of in your ears, out your mouth. And how many of you would like to be more fun in your presentations? How many of you would like that? Anybody want that? How many of you would love to be able to less of a pain in the ass to yourself? How many of you would love that? You're going to learn that. How many of you like to be less bothered by people? You're going to learn that. So it starts on a Sunday, ends on a Thursday. Here's who it's for. Effective human beings that get together, that believe that they're doing good, but they want to do better. It's for human beings that are in sales or business or help someone run their business, that truly want to get where they want to go quicker, and they care about the people in their lives. Do I work with people that just want to get rich overnight? No, they're not allowed to take my course. We don't work with nonsense people. I also don't work with people that are shady or anything like that. You take our skills, you want to use them to be shady, I kick you out of our programs permanently. We ban you from our email list. We work with people that are caring, loving people that want to make a difference in their lives and the people's lives around them. Do you guys know anybody like that? Anybody believe that's you? Okay, very good. So what I'm going to tell you is, first day, we're going to teach you how to get more done in 5 days than you have in 5 months and start cleaning up some stuff and being effective. Anybody interested in that? Day 2, I'm going to show you how to use what's called trigger words, how to use the right word at the right time with yourself and others to either make a sale or sell yourself in doing what you need to do. How many of you believe for the rest of life, it would be valuable for you to know the 3 or 4 words that inside your DNA drive you to do things and to learn what drives your kids, your family, your friends, and your clients? How many realize that alone would make you that tens of thousands of dollars? How many of you understand that? Anybody? You will learn that on day 2. Day 3, we're going to teach you how to get out of your comfort zone and torch your old comfort zone. Throw some C4 in there, blow it up so it'll never hold you back again. Anybody excited about that? And the last 2 days, well, we're going to teach you how to develop the skills you need, and you're going to learn how to rewrite the story of your life, redo the identity, become more confident, become a better communicator, and you are going to do life differently from there forward. Is this interesting to anybody? Anybody interested? So the reason I bring this up, you got 12 months to take it. I got one starting this Sunday if you want to do it. As soon as you sign up, we'll get you into Sunday. If not, you could take it next month. I put together a website. It's resultswithmichael.com. I'll drop it on the screen right now. You go to the website, you open up another browser, you go to resultswithmichael.com. Because Knolly said, I don't need anything for this. We decided to give you 50% off. So instead of $600, you get the program for $300. Folks, it's embarrassing. Tomorrow, I'm doing a call for my database and they're not getting it. You can be on it. They're going to pay more than that tomorrow. This is the Knolly special because we're meeting. This is me kind of getting you hooked a little. I want to help you out. And if it works great the first time, we'll do more. Anybody catching on? You guys getting this? So for a price of a couple tanks of gas in a Suburban, we're going to work together. Also, the Knolly special comes with something else. How many of you would love to be more persuasive? Anybody want that? As soon as you enroll at resultswithmichael.com, you're going to get within minutes something called the 1 hour persuasion. It's an hour-long audio, and you will learn a few techniques on how you can be more influential with yourself, your family, your kids, your clients, the next email you write. How many of you think you could turn that into more than $300 this year? Anybody think so? Folks, I don't need your money. I'm way past needing money. I'm looking to make a difference in this world because I know that if I can reach out to entrepreneurs, so why do I go 20 minutes over? It's not for sales. It's because if I can reach out to entrepreneurs and you can become better communicators, there's better people in this world for myself, my family, my kids, for restaurants and everything all over the world. The other thing I'm going to give you is, how many of you would like to be more confident? Anybody? Here's another gift. How would you like some audios that have binaural beats in them that actually fire you up in the morning for your day with confidence, put you to bed calmly at night, rewire your unconscious mind? Anybody want those? Normally $50, yours for free. You'll have those 10 minutes from now. Anybody want those? Make sense? So we're going to give you all that. You're plus going to get 5 days working with me, kicking your butt, holding your hand, part digital, part live. I'm going to jump on each day and connect with you. How many of you like some Michael for 5 days? Anybody want that? Comes with an entire community. And here's the cool part. You're going to pick up at least one new friend for your life that you can network with. Anybody excited about that? It's going to be super cool. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're a serious student, resultsofmichael.com, it's a no-brainer. $300. It's a little piece of a commission. Okay. Do it. Make a decision, decide to work with me. And other than that, after you enroll, I'm just going to be very transparent. It's going to say on the next page, do you want a copy of Average Sucks? and a shirt. I call it a prospecting tool, right? When you wear this, people will ask you what you do, because the type of people that like average suck shirts have money. How many of you understand that? It does make sense. And you can wear one to the gym. Plus, you can't be a loser when you wear one. You can't go to the gym and not work out hard. So I'll give you a shirt and a book. It's normally $60. I'll pick up the shipping. It's $49 if you want it. If you already have the book, okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you an extra gift. I'm going to give you 2 books if you pay the $49. Here's what the second book is for: a teammate. And here's what you're going to do. Secret little thing. How many of you got another agent on your team or a friend or somebody you care about? Anybody got that in your life? We're going to do something super cool. Knolly, you never seen this before in your life. You're going to go like right here to page 41, and you're going to write right here: call me when you get here. Leaders get this far. Put your phone number down, and then you close the book. And then you're going to write in here something to the fact of, Justin, I'm excited to be on this journey with you. We're going to do incredible things together. Love, Michael. And if they don't call you, they didn't read it, don't spend as much time with them. How many of you understand that? If they read it, you got a winner. I'm going to give you 2 books and 1 shirt for the $49 if you buy that, if you want it. Folks, that's called losing money, but it's a way that we can work better together. It's my extra give. So with that said, I got nothing else to say. I'm going to give that offer. I'm going to give you 11 minutes to take advantage of that. And here's why. Of course, you can do it later, but you know you never will. So open up another browser, decide to do it. And the feeling you get when you choose to do that, you go to resultswithmichael.com and you can click that little button and get the $299 course. You're going to feel great about yourself. You're going to feel confident. And we're one step later from working together. And then you're going to hear me live on Sunday night or in 30 days from now, and you're stuck with me forever. So folks, I'm going to be like the drugs inside of your brain, making incredible things happen. So Knolly, I went 20 minutes over. I get obsessed. I get excited. Anything you want me to share, say, do, have, receive, give, anything, feel free to ask. I got 9 more minutes for your community.
Yeah, man. This was absolutely incredible. I actually scheduled you for 90 minutes, so it's all good.
Oh, good. Let's use it then.
That was a secret thing me and Mike P put together. But yeah, I love it. I love everything you said. You have been a tremendous change maker, a conduit for change in my life. And I really appreciate you. I'm so excited to introduce you to the community. So does anybody have a question for Michael? I see we've got 8 more minutes. Anything you've been stumped with, or but make it one single thing. Don't make it.
Yeah, no, like, hey, Michael, how do I fix everything in life? And just because I get a message from our team, people are asking, what is the time schedule? I'm going to make it easy for you, Frank. You ready? Watch this. You guys ready? It's made for anyone from a single soccer mom with 11 children. It's designed for the most difficult situation. I do not want to take a bunch of your time. So there's a morning class, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. There's a night class, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern, and all of them are replays. So best way to take it is in the morning. Second best way is at night. Third way is replay. How many of you recognize, even if you broke it up over 2 weeks, it's worth it? So if procrastination's your biggest problem, brother, sign up for the program. I will rip that out of your DNA. I can guarantee you that. So it's 5 days. And you shouldn't ask. So the replays are not forever, Chris. They're for the period of the course, for a couple of weeks on purpose. I'll explain it, but there's better stuff than that we'll be able to explain. You're not going to need them forever. And I'll explain why later. You'll get a chance to listen to it multiple times over a 2 to 3 week period. So we're going to get you all hooked up. If you can't do the class, there's one in July, one in August, one in September. The biggest thing we need to learn how to do is become decisive people. So this is one thing Knolly knows and I know. The most valuable gift you can give yourself is to sign up. It just so happens the course is good. The fact that when you enroll, it says, I give a shit about myself and I want my life to be better. By staring at the page, it just says I'm unsure. So I'm just saying, when you enroll, the magic happens. The course starts to work. When you don't enroll, nothing happens. Again, that's not me pushing you right now. That's you understanding something. My mentor, Jim Rohn, right there, taught me. He goes, it's not the course. There's Jim. That was my mentor right there. Jim and me at 24 years old. So what's interesting is what Jim told me is, if the course is good, great. It will be. The fact that you shifted the course of your life, that enrolling is what started the process. How many of you realize I can't help you until you make a 3-second decision? How many of you understand that? Yeah. Everybody catching on? And I'd give it away for free. In 2020, I gave away tens of thousands of copies and thousands of people took it. People don't take it seriously. So with that said, yes, we have
Michael, let me throw this in too, that my students come to me and, my community comes to me and they want that change. Everything you said today, they've done the work. They can't see the results. They know they should be where they're, and it really is at the subconscious level.
Yes,
that they're blocked. And so that's what you've helped me with. That's the reason why I have you here.
Yes.
Because I know if they don't get this piece of it, they'll never have the life they could possibly have. Absolutely. And it all starts with this particular course that you're offering. So I
This
appreciate
course,
that.
this course, what this does is an introduction to your unconscious mind. It's very basic. It explains, like, did you hear where I shared that with Amazing Woman earlier when she said, so far, if we cut out our so fars and our maybes and our one days and our kind ofs, if we just started there and we started using trigger words like necessary, do you understand Elon Musk does not say maybe? Do you guys understand that? Unless he's calling you out on your question. I don't care who you admire and who you look up to. Any great communicator is not going to say maybe. Do you guys understand? They're not. They're not going to say try. They're not going to say kind of. They're not going to say sort of. And they're not going to say sure. They're going to either do it or don't. And they'll quickly make a decision. So like if I asked my wife to marry me, Knolly, and she said, can I think about it for a couple of days? It's over. It's over. Like we are not going to get married. How many of you recognize if you have to think about it for a couple of days getting married, you should not? Does everybody understand? So whatever you're going to do, like when you walk in a home, you know if it's the right home or not. Like you cannot sell someone a home.
That's right.
Do you guys understand?
That's right.
That's right. There's a thing that takes over your body. How many of you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I try to sell my old home. I walk through places at 6,500 square feet and it's got this and that. Dude, I couldn't sell it. I'm a great salesman. I could not sell any home because it's got to feel right. It's got to be right. So, yeah. So I'm just going to tell you that you guys got to make your own decision. So anyways, enough about that. Questions on the course or anything else I can help you with? And again, it's resultswithmichael.com. You can open up another window, get the book in the shirt, the 2 books in the shirt. I'll give you 5 minutes to make a decision. If you got teammates that you want to get on, of course, I'm giving you more than 5 minutes, guys. You have till the course starts to do it. And there's no pressure from me, but I am going to push you because I care. Does anybody else have a question? And we do have live classes. Sylvia, if you do this, so here's how this begins. This is what I was getting at. When you take this class, you're going to learn what you do and how you do what you do. And then we're going to build upon that. And core is going to get you to realize your deep inner programs. This is a boot camp for really getting the ball rolling. If you only do this, you're going to get so much out of this. So yes, you can. I would just do July, do it all at once, Deneen. It's completely up to you. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while, but yes, you can do this. Do whatever you'd like. We'll make it work for you. Anybody else questions?
Michael, I need your phone number and I need Knolly's phone number.
Okay. I can give you our office number.
Sure.
Yeah, my phone number costs a lot of money. Live coaching with me is $50,000 for 8 hours, and I'll give you that plus the bill. But my office number is 866-241-5111.
Knolly, I need your phone number.
He'll send that to you privately.
Yeah. Who is this? Ask him.
This is Milo, M-I-L-O. I've been with you before.
Okay. All right.
It's Milo Guarnero, Guarnero.
He'll send you a private message.
Yeah, well, I'll send you a PM and you could look on Knolly.com. All my contact information's there. Anybody else have a question? Hey, you got one of the greatest people that I know on the planet here for 4 more minutes, and you guys are silent. That's the
I got a guy that just signed a contract of that price I just said with me to come to the office. He owns a huge franchise. He's going to have questions all day. I'm never going to be able to get rid of him. And he just paid a fortune. Everyone just imagine you paid 50 grand. What would you want to know now? Either about the class or about, again, it's resultsofmichael.com, or you can call us at 866-241-5111 and our office will take care of you for the $299. What question do you have either about the class or just anything I can help you with? I mean, marketing, sales, business, life.
I see Janet's got her hand raised.
Janet, what's up, girl? What's up?
Okay, so I'm signed up, looking forward to it, but I need to know the other two simple drugs.
Dopamine. You don't need to know it, so let's just change your language. It would be beneficial to know, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Need is not going to serve you. You don't want to need anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dopamine's excitement.
Yep.
Cortisol's fear.
Mm-hmm.
Serotonin is the decision-making pride muscle, and oxytocin is love.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So when I'm writing an email, because I love people, I see how many of that I can include. I got some exciting news. You should be proud that you're reading this email. And I'm excited when we get to connect in person. I just hit you with 3 drugs, didn't I? Folks, it's not a script I'm teaching you. It's a way of being. It's a way of being. Who else has a question, comment? I'm responsible for about $1 billion in real estate sales between our clients, helping them elevate their sales. So I'd love to help you guys with a B.
I just wanted to say I've taken this class before years ago and then took it again.
How you been?
Love it. I'm great. Thank you. I always find that there's so much value that I'm able to pull out of myself by the way that you teach. So I'm thrilled. I'm excited to do it
We
again.
we met through Giuliani years ago. Is that correct? Is that what we met?
Gosh, I don't even remember. It was I started watching you. I have all your CDs.
I don't even have CDs anymore. She has CDs.
I still have them.
How long I've been doing
I
this?
started in
I got-
06.
You got my book?
I have your book. I have your t-shirt. Yeah. But
Yeah,
the
cool.
training's great, you guys. I mean, I'm just, I can't say enough, and I appreciate what you brought to my life since back in 06. So thank
You know what I'm excited about? Because I remember we met in 06 and it was Giuliani we met through. You've known me longer than I even know my wife. I met my wife in 07.
I know, that's so crazy.
And then I mean my little one's 11 years old right now, just to put it that way. Folks,
Crazy.
I'm 46. I've been doing this for a little while. So anybody else? Thank you, Deneen.
Yeah.
This can be used in real estate. It can be used in it can be used with your kids. Folks, my courses are not business related. My courses are life related. Okay. And Monica, the $299 is today. Figure it out. It's a message I saw, and just to let you know that that's how it works. Or send an email to just call the 866 number. They'll take care of you. 866, she has a question about the website. 866-241-5111. Call right away, and then they'll figure that out for you. They can do what you need. 866-241-5111. Okay. Thank you, Deneen. One more question in my last 10 seconds.
I have one.
Ooh, go ahead.
Hey,
Hey.
I just want to say thank you so much. This was amazing. Knolly.
I want to thank Knolly real quick. Thank Knolly real
Exactly.
quick.
Knolly, thank you for bringing this to us. He's always giving, and I'm just proud to be part of his organization, and I look forward to learning all that you can teach us in this course.
Thank you. Did you have a question or just want to make a statement?
I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Carol. We love you. I
I'll
love
make
you.
Thank
one
you.
last statement. You all should be proud of yourselves. I'm not just saying that. The fact that we're here, we're 90 minutes into working on yourselves. There are so many stimuli that you could have been on today. Netflix, Facebook, Instagram, Tinder. It could have been anywhere. Does that make sense? Who knows? Dating apps. You could have been wasting your time, been in a bar drunk. And here we are wanting to better ourselves. It says something about you. And you were with one of the greatest loving leaders I've ever met in my life. I've spent 100 hours with this man in the last 30 days, literally. And I admire his heart. I admire his drive, his mind. And he goes to the events for himself, but also to bring more to you guys. So thank you, Knolly. If there's anything else you want me to cover, I will.
That's it. And I just want to thank you, Michael. I love you. You have
Love you too.
brought out more in me than in the last month than I've been able to bring out in the past 20 years. And so your methods are far more advanced than anyone on the planet that I've ever met. And I've been studying this stuff I've been studying how to become better for 30 years. So I just love your methodology. I love your systems and your technologies. Once you guys get a hold of this technologies, forget about it. I mean, everything that I've learned about the subconscious mind is like a Model T, whereas you're teaching it as a Lamborghini. So it's really on a whole different, or even a spaceship.
But you can drive it like you're driving a go-kart.
Super easy.
I'm going to
super
make
easy.
it like training wheel bike. So you could drive a Lamborghini like you got training wheels. So it's like you won't have to know how to even drive a stick shift. I'm going to make it like how to drive training wheels.
I would say it's probably some of the easiest stuff you've ever learned. And you won't know why it's just amazing that they don't teach this. I mean, we know why they don't. Because we'd have so many empowered human beings on the planet. So thank you, Michael, for what you do.
Thank you.
Mike P in the house. Thank you, Mike P, for everything you do. You're the man behind it. I want to thank Paul, my business partner that's here with us as well,
Hey,
for
Paul.
being behind the scenes, handling everything. So thank you. And I'll see you again soon, Michael.
Yeah, I'm excited to work with everybody, and I'll let you know. I'm not going to tell you, Knolly. The ones who enrolled, you'll know. they're going to be reaching out with texts and emails and thank yous. And those who did, and everybody sent him a thank you too. I mean, for setting this up, he doesn't have to be doing this, and here he is. So I'm just going to tell you all, you're going to see a big difference between those who make a decision and don't, not to take a course, to change the course of their life. When I first started learning communication years ago, Knolly, it changed everything for me. And the reason I do this so quickly is I have ADD and I'm an impatient person. I hated shit taking a long time. And I wanted things that were quick and that were fast and effective. And I wanted street skills that I could use because I didn't have parents that taught me this stuff. So I do not want any of you that have parents, kids, or teammates to ever not have an answer. I want you to have the answer for them from this day forward. So Knolly, thank you. I'm going back to my team. Appreciate you. Resultsofmichael.com. Take care, folks. Catch y'all later. Peace.